And I have my Zoom master, Michelle Parker, here, and she'll be going through the slides, as well as set up breakout rooms for everyone. And what we're going to do later on is break out groups into school levels: elementary school group, middle school, and high school. And then we'll ask for a show of hands, and we'll group accordingly, and when it's time, we'll go there. And then we'll answer all your questions that you'll have later on about membership. And we take on all questions and try to get you answers as best we can. And if we don't have the answers, we can rely on our state and get those. Welcome, everyone. Let's go next slide. And great. A little background. I've incorporated some of your questions in the presentation already, and I'm sure more will come up later. So if we could hold off all the questions till the end, that would be good. Hopefully the presentation will answer a lot of your questions. So little background: the importance of membership, and why are we doing this? Well, PTA, we are the first and foremost organization on advocacy, and we're here for the kids. And because our kids can't speak for themselves, we speak for them, but we need a lot of people to do that with. So we draw on our membership, and the larger the better. Stronger membership equals stronger advocacy. And for example, we go to Washington, D.C., and there's 2 lobbyists in the room. One lobbyist has 10 people, and one lobbyist represents 5 million. Well, who do you think is going to get first in line? Well, it's probably going to be PTA, because we are the largest volunteer child advocacy organization in the country. It was true 100 years ago, and it's still true today. So that's why we need you, and we need more members, and we need to maintain our strength through membership. And that's why we do that year in, year out, pandemic or no pandemic. We keep doing the work. Okay, next slide. The work continues. Go back. I think we missed a slide. Do we miss a slide?
You're freezing, Albert. I'm not sure what you're saying.
Yes.
You were freezing. I'm not.
Okay. So before you start, we have some basics. Totem. You've probably heard that by now. I think some of you are on it already. It's a PTA electronic membership system. And I'm gonna say this a lot. Oh, okay. All right. How's that? Okay, let me do that again. Totem, PTA electronic member. Okay, I'm going to do this a lot, and I'm going to reverse capta.org. See, search Totem, and it is on there. So when you're part of a school community, and throw in a tech person on the team, and it helps. We have membership pairs. Set a goal, very important. And if you don't know what your membership goals are, ask me. I have 2 years worth of enrollment information for membership, and it's always good to uh, know what you are shooting for and add 10% on top of it, and about that later. Keep membership on your mind all the time. It's very important. Also partner with the principal through this time, more so than we have in the past. So the principal is your partner. Map out your opportunities, have a plan, where you can meet people virtually, and we'll list that out later on. But whatever you do, have a plan, have a target, have a plan, know your partners, and know where your tools are. National PTA has a big membership package. Go to pta.org. Very good information. California State PTA, capta.org. I can't say that enough. That is your a one-stop shop for information, capta.org. And the last question is, before we start, is think about what came first, community building or membership? Same thing as what came first, the chicken or the egg? These things go hand in hand. When you have a community that's really strong, membership just pours out. And when you have a lot of members, you could start with those members and start to build a community. Now that you have something in common, you guys are all members of the same organization. So both are important, but look at community building, super huge. Just a quick little check. How's my connection, Michelle?
It's okay, but it keeps going in and out. You might want to consider turning off your video so it doesn't freeze so much.
Okay, all right, let me do that.
Or we could pause and we can let you call in, whichever works better for you. But we could try just turning off your video if you'd like.
Let me just try turning.
Albert?
Issue. Okay, I'll turn it off.
Okay, it was freezing a little bit
Okay.
when it first went off, Albert, so we'll
great. Now you're ready to start your membership campaign. 3 big points. Parents, principal, partnership. Am I still freezing? Darn it, maybe I should. How's that, Michelle?
Better.
Okay, I'll call in. Answers. Do you think you want to answer some questions first, or we could just blow through this? I'll just blow through this. Let me try that.
Hold
okay, all right. I won't move. Okay, let's go back. Go back to the last slide. Okay, great. Remember, we're all in this together. Yeah, maybe I should call in. Okay, hold on. Can we take a 2-minute break? Sorry.
Yeah. No worries. All right, everybody, while we're letting Albert call in so we don't have him freezing, here's what we'll do. He mentioned earlier that we're going to do breakouts. And so we wanted to do it for elementary, middle, and high school. So while we're waiting for him, why don't we just have people who'd like to be in an elementary school breakout raise your hand. And so if you know how to do that, you look at the participant list. Okay, great. People see how to do that. You look at the participant list, and when you click on more, you'll be able to see how you can raise your hand, or maybe it's at the bottom. It doesn't show up on my screen. I'm trying to remember. But raise your hand, and that way I'll just start pre-assigning you all to breakout rooms. And so we'll do elementary first. So raise your little blue hand if you would like, if you want to be part of an elementary school breakout room. And I'll just start doing that. All right, that's very helpful, thanks. So I'll just, while we're waiting for Albert, I'll get you all started. Okay, so I think I just have 6 people with their hands raised. So if there's anybody else who wants to be in an elementary group, raise your hand now, or you can just say something in the chat and I'll catch you that way. So let's have all of the elementary folks lower your hands, and then anybody who wants to be in a middle school, we'll have you raise your hands in just a minute. I'm just gonna have. Okay, so I've lowered everybody's hands. Now you can raise your hand if you want to do a middle school. And then it looks like, Albert, are you back?
He was there for a second, and then before I could hit admit, he disappeared.
Oh no. Okay. All right. Everybody, thanks so much for your patience. We will get this technical issue worked out.
I think it might be a Zoom thing, because the Zoom training that I was on right before this, they were having issues too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of school stuff going on.
Mm. Okay, so I see about 6 people who have their hands raised up. So that's what I think is our middle school group. And then
not yet. I'm trying to find.
Are you back, Albert?
No, he's still on his video call.
Oh, okay. All right. So I think that means everybody who has your hands raised, I'm lowering them for you.
Welcome to Zoom. Enter your meeting followed by pound.
Okay, so I think that means anybody who didn't have their hand raised, does that mean that you want to be in a high school group? Actually, just raise your hand if you'd like to do high school while we're waiting for Albert. Okay, so I see 3 people left. So that to me means that we've got a few other people who will just either randomly assign into those groups, or we can have it be in their own group. And so that's what we'll do. So if you have anything you want to say about which group you want to be in, just send me a direct chat. Okay, Albert, are you with us?
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna try it again. I switched routers, so I'm going to the hotspot. Is that better? Can you hear me, Michelle?
I can hear you. Try that again.
Okay, all right. So hopefully that helps.
That sounds a lot clearer.
Is that working?
It's sounding a lot clearer. Yeah, let's try that.
Okay, let's try that. Okay, sorry everyone. I'm calling from Carmel. Maybe it's something down here. Okay, all right. So we're looking at parent-principal partnerships. So that's going to be huge this year. This is, make no mistake about it, this is going to be the hardest year of our lifetime for sure. So we need to leverage every partner that we have, parents, principals, and the principal can help you a lot in their staff meetings. Ask the principal to share information about spreading the word. Use your teacher as ambassadors to spread the word. Join the PTA. A lot of the teachers get vouchers and gift cards, or they shouldn't be doing gift cards, but they get stipends from the PTA, and PTA supports the classroom, so the classroom should support the PTA. Membership's going to be huge this year, and we don't want any numbers to drop. We want to maintain and increase if we can. So teachers are going to be huge. Principals are going to be huge. Your room parent network is going to be huge. Use your parent network. Word of mouth is the best, and peer-to-peer accountability is huge. So piggyback onto classroom communications and Wednesday envelopes, and use word of mouth. So it's all about communications. Next slide. Okay, and part of communications, when you go to capta.org, I sent a couple of links. You could go on to capta.org and they're going to have a social media kit for you. And in that kit, you're going to have sample posts for Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And they're all pre-written for you. You could change the names to your school. You could change it up, delete paragraphs, add more onto it. It's already written out for you. You could just cut and paste, and it's that easy. Customizing images. We have images in Spanish and in English. And they even have Zoom backgrounds. And I actually tried to load one on before this meeting, but the version of the software didn't support it. But they have it. Just use it. It's great. PTA logos and banners. One program that's out there, Canva. It's free, and we like that. And you could customize all the PTA logos and the templates that are in there. There's 2 links here, but it's just easy to go into capta.org and search social media kit, and everything is out there. You just have to type in your specific school, ABC PTA, and then it's customized. You're ready to go. Canva is easy. It just takes minutes. Another thing you could do, make QR codes. Go Google, search QR code generator, and you use it on print media, posters, flyers, post it. And you could use it for your campaign drive. Put these posters up, put a QR code in there, and just have people scan it, and information just feeds right through. And also, you could track how many times you've been scanned. So use it as data to gauge how you guys are doing. So a lot of information is there. Use it as part of your membership campaign, and it looks really professional, looks great. And the last thing on the slide is sample press releases. In that social media kit, there is also sample press releases in case you have reporters calling in, getting information. Everything is there for you. You just have to insert your school name, and then you're all set. Okay, next slide. Let's see. Virtual meetings. We talked about this one, and we're going virtual. We're hoping for hybrid soon down the road sometime, but you know what? We're going to assume the worst and hope for the best. So let's say we all go virtual, okay? Monthly PTA meetings, they're gonna be virtual. Use those opportunities to, do a blast for membership. Principal teacher chats. Some principals have Friday coffee chats. Use those opportunities. Ask your principal, how often do you have opportunities to reach the school population? Can I do a plug for PTA? And of course the answer is going to be yes. And special topics with guest speakers. Anytime, and this happens a lot in high school, when you have special events, use that opportunity. And for the event, some schools have reflection nights. Take a couple of minutes to do a plug. Family reading nights, science night, that happens in middle school. For high school, it's more college night, university information night. And you could initiate it, invite a school representative to talk, and or bring a past student to share their experiences and advice. There's a lot of opportunities. You just have to look out for them and map out your entire year. When we talked earlier, map everything out and plan for it. And think about Membership Mondays as a day to really talk about how the membership drive is doing, because this is going to be a year long too. So it's going to be an incredible effort, but it's a worthy effort too, because many hands make work light. All right, next slide. All right, great. The Great PTA Membership Idea Exchange. So a lot of the district presidents across the state have been meeting to talk about what's working for their districts. And we're talking from the Oregon border down to San Diego to the Nevada border. There's there's a lot of ideas, but you know your school community the best. So a lot of ideas were thrown out, may or may not work. Just think about it. One success story I want to share, the CIS story, is 11 years ago, 12 years ago, we started a school, and the first thing was we need to build the culture, and we need to make everyone responsible for their kids' education. And the result of that is every single year we've had 100% membership. I mean, CIS was the only school in the San Francisco district to have that involvement, and the focus was on diversity, equity, and inclusion. The idea isn't to wait for someone to drop something in the box to say I want to be a member. It's to go after people and say, I notice you're not a member. Well, not so bluntly, obviously, but use your membership list. Identify who's the member and use that peer-to-peer accountability of, hey, I notice you're not a member. It's everyone's responsibility. The biggest question as to why people, or the reason why people say they didn't join, was no one asked, right? So if you asked, I'm sure they will join. So get rid of that excuse. Just ask everyone. And just to try it out, I want you guys to ask me. And you know what? Tonight, I will join you if you ask me. My email address is dp2@capta.org. So go ahead and email that to me, and I will join your PTA. And thank you letter. Send one out to the members to say thank you. Don't just take their money and run. Acknowledge that, it's important, and there's sample letters out there too. Capta.org, there's sample letters. Thank you for joining the PTA. Your dollars go very far for your children's support, welfare, for this year. But again, this builds for the next year too, and the year after that, because you're playing the infinite game here. You want a PTA member for life, not just that 1 year. It's not there's no finish line at the end that says, okay, you're done for the year. This is an infinite game here. We talked about Membership Mondays. That's one day to really think about membership. And it's one way of keeping membership hot, so that, hey, next Monday. So you don't forget about it. It's always Membership Monday. And use a theme too. Themes help a lot. It keeps you focused on help us grow, stronger together, building a stronger community. When they hear help us grow, oh, that's our motto, we're gonna grow. Or you could use our reflections motto. It's anything you want. And there's always membership perks and incentives of, if you join and all the perks are out there listed on the website. And I try not to focus people on membership perks. It's a nice bonus. It shouldn't be the reason that you're joining to get a discount at Legoland or anything like that. This is just a perk. The reason you're joining is to support your child, and that should be reason enough. Honorary membership chairs. Invite an elected official or a well-known community person to be your honorary membership chair. And that way, it's a nice plug, and people would look at that person, oh, they're a member too. It's a nice endorsement to have. So a lot of ideas, and we're going to have an opportunity to do breakout rooms and share ideas, because that's what PTA is all about. We're all about sharing best practices and helping each other out. So in this country, we have about 5 billion members, and if we're fully sharing, it's amazing. But in our San Francisco bubble and in our room here on 411 Wednesday, here's our opportunity to share and help each other out, and go from there. Let's see, next slide. I think we're ready to do breakout rooms, Michelle. Are we? Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so in your breakout room, we want to know what worked for your school in the past, and any tips that you might have for, you know, each other by breaking out in school levels, elementary, middle, and high school. You're going to share the same population and same issues, same concerns, and hopefully, you know, we can have a lot of ideas that we could share with everyone tonight. I think we're going to do did we say 15 minutes, Michelle? I can't remember.
I think you had said 10. I think it just depends on how long you want to have for sharing back out when you come back.
Okay, let's do 15 and 15. 15 to share, and then select a spokesperson to report out the top 3 ideas. And then we'll have 15 minutes to share afterwards, and then answer any questions that we couldn't answer or didn't answer in the last half hour. So let's go from there, shall we?
Just quick question before I send you all to your rooms. I have one person on the phone. If you can tell me if you want to be in the elementary, middle, or high school group, that would be great. You can either send a text or just unmute yourself now and tell me which room you want to go to. And then Albert, do you want to go to one of the rooms?
Sure.
Okay. Do you have a preference?
Whichever room is short of people or have an odd number.
Okay. And Sally, where would you like to go?
It doesn't matter either.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. I am going to send you all off.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle.
You are welcome.
Everyone, and I hope everyone had some fun as well. Let's report out first. I could report out for Breakout Room 1, and we had a lot of great ideas. Some schools, one school offered free membership, and another school offered
Did we lose you, Albert?
Hi, I'm sorry.
Did we lose you?
For a second there, yeah. So I'm back. Welcome back, everyone. Let me report out for Breakout Room 1. Some ideas that came across was free membership for families. Some families wouldn't take up on it, so you know they don't understand the value of the membership. So we have to explain what is membership. Some parents paid for other families, and that was nice too. I think there's a commonality of some people feel marginalized and they're on the fringes, and that's why they don't sign up. So I think the solution is to try to reach out. You know, diversity, equity, and inclusion's big this year for us, and we want to really reach out and work with the principal and the teachers to, you know, talk to the parents too, because they look at the teachers as an ambassador. Other parents not so much, but if the teachers talk to you, the parents would listen up, and they're saying, how can I support my kids? Well, first thing is join the PTA, right? So that tends to help, and you know, we could continue the conversations. It's a big thing this year. Breakout Room 2, would you like to report out?
Which one was 2? Was
That's the middle school
middle
group.
school? All right. I was semi-elected to talk about that. We talked a lot about, I'm Charles from, have an 8th grader in Roosevelt and a 5th grader in Chinese immersion school. And so we talked a lot about software tools for building membership, partially because I built one at Chinese immersion school and it was really quite successful for promoting membership, and I shared it with a group. And we also talked about Parent Square that was used at one of the schools. And Totem, of course, I didn't demo Totem, but those are just really key with this year. You can't do a traditional campaign. You need to have an electronic membership and directory system. And the one I showed, which I'm happy to demo if I have time, has a directory and a communication system and allows you to get in touch with other parents and sign up easily. It doesn't solve the problem of getting in touch with the parents in the first place. You still have to get in touch with them and invite them to your electronic system, but we didn't end up having tons of time to talk about that. Yeah, I guess I could offer to pause for high school or show a electronic membership system that we used at Chinese immersion school.
We probably won't have time for that, Charlie. We only have about 5 minutes, and I want to hear from the high school. But Charlie, would you be willing to do a demo of your system to anyone who's interested, and maybe we could set up a time?
Sure. And yeah, I'm putting a URL in there, or you can contact me in the chat, or some future meeting that we can take a look at it. But anything that works.
Okay. All right. Maybe if you're interested, if anyone's interested, put your use the chat box to sign up, and then maybe Charlie, you could set up a time, and then you could do a demo for whoever signs up.
Cool.
Okay, thank you. High school, who wants to speak up for high school?
Okay, it has to be one of the other parents. It can't be a board member.
Okay, who was in the high school? One. Anyone? It had to be someone in that room.
Okay, I'll do it. I'm
Hey,
Anna,
this is,
so,
oh, please. Sorry.
so yeah, from Burton High School, and so we had a bunch of great ideas. So first of all, we're gonna have like freshman
remember in the
orientation.
Yeah.
And so we'll be presenting there, and then Sharon had a great idea of having, I was talking about holding up a poster and tell information on how to join the PTA, and she said, put on the QR code from Totem on there. Another member said, put the short URL there, so then people, can also put it in the chat. So it's like, here, join here, click on this kind of thing. So we can go through that. What we also do is the principal has a weekly email that goes out, so we have information distributed that way. Another great idea was to get more students involved, because then if a student gets involved and gets their friends involved, then it's kind of like a wildfire spread of membership, people joining all together. So I thought these were a lot of great ideas there. And also maybe an informal coffee or dessert chat just to get to know parents through Zoom kind of thing. So there was lots of great ideas in our room.
Great, thank you, Anna. No, those are great ideas. And let's see, I know we're short on time, and I apologize. I wish we could make this a 4-hour session, but I want to respect everyone's time. Let's see, let's go to the questions. I think there were a lot of questions that came in. Let's see. Michelle, I don't have access. Well, actually, no, I take that back.
Do you have them?
No, I don't have them. Can you read them out?
Yeah, hold on, let me just,
Let's do that. We'll do the lightning round, okay?
yeah, and then we'll let you know what else is coming up.
Yeah.
Let's see, the questions were, what are the top 3 reasons for joining the PTA of your child's school? Which I think you maybe kind of already covered that, but if you want to add anything.
Yeah, one more thing to add is student success. Because if they see you participate, whether showing up at school or being a member, the kids tend to do better because if parents don't care, why should the kids, right? So if you're involved, if you're a member, you're part of the school. And if your kid sees you as a member, they kind of tend to, pay more attention. Next question.
Yeah, how to best promote membership virtually?
Just blasting it out. Blasting it out and leveraging technology. Go to capta.org. Lot of ideas.
How about, does anyone have ideas on how to reach the new families?
Are you talking kinder parents?
Well, like kinder parents, even like freshmen in high school, like when they're first entering the school and you don't have a list, how could you get in touch with these new parents?
You have to work with the school principal and ask them to identify them and piggyback a membership letter onto the school letter. And also create a buddy system in high school where, and some schools do that already, where incoming freshmen are paired up with other members of the school population and, like a big brother, big sister, and just say, promote membership that way too. I think Lowell does something like that, and Lowell has over 1,000, about 1,200 members. So that's 3 times the size of CIS in terms of membership. But of course, they have they have 2,000 or 3,000 kids, so they're only 50%. But that's a lot of opportunity out there for connections. And I mentioned kinder parents have super energy. Tap into that first and keep maintaining that energy. It's not transactional. It's not one thing. It's transformational, where you tap into them and you make them a PTA member for life. Strike while the iron is hot. You don't reach kinder parents at the end of the school. You reach them at the beginning of the school and tap into that energy and keep it going. Let's see, where are some of the other questions? Shall we go to the...
Yeah, so related. So maybe I won't ask all of them because they're all these been answered, but there was one about driving membership without in-person school or meetings, which you basically just answered. Mm-hmm. And then you've already talked about Totem for collecting online membership fees. Mm-hmm. And then there was, I don't know if you covered this, how do we get enrollment info from the district, which you can't get enrollment information from the district. Did you cover that?
No, but there's a privacy issue, and that's why you will have to work with the principals directly. And as long as they understand it, maybe they could send it out. And in fact, some schools have their principals go after the parents who aren't members and say, hey, I noticed you're not a member, or new parents with information that they'll gladly pass on PTA information to, because they are smart principals. They know that they are helping their own cause.
And I would imagine, especially, secondary school parents are often, not all of them, but many are in parent view. And so when they're getting signed up, the principal can, there's an easier way for the school to be in contact electronically, but maybe when the principal is somehow communicating with elementary school parents about getting signed up also for parent view, he or she can put a request out for PTA membership at the same time. Mm-hmm. Another question is, would adding members from previous years to Totem manually be a violation of their privacy?
I don't think so, unless they complain, right? I would make everything an opt-in rather than an opt-out. They would have to opt out. And you have to have that mindset.
Those are all the questions that we had submitted at the time.
Okay, great. Let me go through the chat box real quick. Let's see. Scholarship for membership. I think Lakeshore is doing that, but none of the parents are taking up the free memberships. So there's not a PTA problem there. That's more of a training that the parents don't understand the value of a membership. So I think after it's explained to the parents that what a membership really means, they'll be glad to take that free membership. And I think another school has parents pay for other families too. So, which is great because we want inclusion. We want to tap into everyone. It's all about the numbers. We want participation. It's not a fundraiser. It's building your base.
Albert, in terms of the scholarships for memberships, I think it's important to think about how you're offering that. If you offer it and say, you come to us and ask for a freebie, that doesn't usually happen. But more so I've seen at schools where they say, just turn in your form, and if there's no payment with it, we will cover it. And so then it's just easier, and there's no like face-to-face interaction about that. So that's another way I've seen schools do that. And they do take it up on that, whether they're forgetting to send in the money or not, or maybe that's it. But some of them do turn it in at Marina, for example, without a payment. We just cover the base amount. And the units do need to cover the base amount of $475, I think it is, when people take the scholarship.
Great, thanks, Melissa. No, that's good to know. Let's see, at Ruth Asawa, parents are invited to donate membership for teacher and students. That's great. A lot of times we have to remember that PTA teachers are the T in PTA, so we have to pull them into it. And they have an interest, they have a stake in this, because more membership means stronger support for the classroom and bigger stipends possibly. So teachers should really be encouraged to join. And that's, ask your alumni parents too. Lowell does that all the time. Let's see, here's a question from Nalesh from Lowell. What is second district advocating for in terms of local issues? In particular, how are we advocating for school schedules to be approved by the district? Why did it take 3 months to get teacher contracts approved and completed so late? Well, we can't comment on UESF labor negotiations. We don't know the details. We're not involved. They're private negotiations and they cannot be negotiated in public. It's the law, so we can't comment on that. We advocate for a lot of local issues. Anything that has to do with children, we advocate for. And when there's issues on the ballot, we form study committees to dissect it and understand it and form an opinion and endorse it. So that's how we advocate for children on local issues. I hope I answered that question thoroughly. If not, let me have Michelle here. Nalish?
Okay, just a quick follow-up. The question is, how do we advocate for the district to have some sort of SLA to respond for what's best for the kids? So for example, I'm not asking for negotiations to be made public. The idea is to get the negotiations completed more than 6 business days before school reopens, so that teachers know when to report and what to do. Secondly, then the administration has to come in and come up with schedules, and they have to be approved by the schools. Our school has submitted it. We have not yet heard back from the district, even though it's already been 72 hours to get our schedule approved. And so the question becomes, how can we as second district PTA and as Lowell PTA advocate for the district to respond sooner and have some SLAs to respond to these critical issues that are critical for the students to know what to expect going forward?
At the school level, you could talk to your principal. They would be your school contact. She is your highest level administrator there. And if you're at the PTSA meetings, I think the principal's there as well, right? She attends every single one in the choir room. Just ask her point blank, hey, what's going on? Can you comment on that? And then we could always bring it up to Superintendent, Dr. Matthews as well.
Good. I think that's what I guess I'm asking for, because we've requested it, we're not hearing back, and it's taking a long time to hear back. So that's the big question mark.
Got it. I understand. I'll bring that up because sometimes not knowing the details makes you more antsy about the problem. So having some transparency and clarity helps to fuse that anxiety. Completely understand. And Michelle?
Yeah, can I just add to that? So when PTA is taking positions, like generally sort of if you were to just take a look at the PTA website on the state PTA's website on kind of driving priorities, anything that fits with that is speaking up to make sure parents have a voice, that timelines are held, that are, that there's an appropriate urgency, like that's all stuff that your PTA can advocate for. One thing that I have done often at schools when it felt like the district was moving like molasses on issues that really mattered was to, of course, try the principal first, but I often had to go above the principal with the principal's blessing, actually, to go ahead to their supervisor or others and say, hey, this really matters to our community. Can you please move this along? We're not telling you how to solve the issue, but we really need the information. And that is super appropriate to do. I think that if the Lowell PTSA has worked with the principal and the principal's tossing their hands up and isn't getting anywhere, I think it's perfectly appropriate for you to send an email to the superintendent and say, hey, can you move this along? Or to your principal's supervisor and say, we really need some support on this. Our parents are worried. That those kinds of advocacy efforts on the part of your PTA are perfectly appropriate. If there are personnel issues, for instance, where there's something like you can't know the details happening between a teacher and the principal or whatever, same thing. We're not advocating for a position. We're advocating for you to get this moving along because this is affecting the community in our school or whatever. Like that's the appropriate sort of advocacy to do, where you're not taking a side, but you're saying we've got to get information because we care about our families and we care about our kids. So I think you should feel perfectly free to do that. And that is something you can also do with school board members and others on issues, policies that are coming before them. Like, we just need a decision because it's, is that helpful? Okay.
Yes, very much so. Sorry, I was muting myself to make sure there's no background noise. Yeah, very helpful. I just feel guilt. I'm sure Dr. Matthews and the rest of the district admin get so many emails. We're trying not to inundate them, but for things that are critical, things like this that are simple, it'd be really helpful.
I think that they are doing so much, and I think they've all been working overtime for months to try to get everything out to people as soon as they can. And so I think that if you approach these kinds of communications, like, do try to do the chain of command the best you can. Like, maybe don't go straight to the superintendent first, try to go somewhere else first. But if you approach it in a respectful way, like, because I've seen lots of those emails, like, we're really appreciative of everything that you're doing right now. We know that this is a lot, and we just want to make sure that this issue is at the top of your attention, because because that also, one really key thing for any time we're advocating to leadership or elected officials is when their constituents are asking for something, the more people who are asking for it, the more backup they have in asking for it to be done. Right? So if our state assembly person gets 50 calls about an issue, he can go to the legislature and say, I've got people calling me about this thing, and he has backup. So it's the same thing in our school district. They need backup to get things moving sometimes. So I would encourage that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing that up. Next question came from Catherine Shea. Can you elaborate on your question about CAPTA and Totem and the advice they gave you?
Yeah, it was basically a question of like we had some members from the previous year that paid manually by check and they were not entered into the totem database. And so at one point we were thinking maybe we could add them into the totem database now and, you know, see if Totem can send out like a renewal of sorts. That's what I was envisioning. But then during that time, one of the captive reps answered my question. He said, if you enter them now after the June 30th deadline, basically they're going to show up as being an active member. So you don't want that. You want them to kind of initiate in that sense where they actually pay. And then at that point, once they pay, then you can either manually at that point enter them into Totem, but they were saying maybe don't enter them right now yourself manually, wait until they pay again for this year. And yes, they did mention about the, I guess the grace period from July through October, meaning they could still vote. I don't know. I wasn't clear. When you said add them now, then I'm like, oh, wow, add them now. Okay.
Yeah, Catherine, did you ask me this question previously in an email by chance?
I did. That was one of the questions you answered earlier. So that was just my fault.
Oh, you're from Lincoln.
No, not from Lincoln. I'm Marina Middle School, but it was one of the questions I submitted and you just answered it earlier. So I was just mulling over it.
Yeah, okay, got it. Yeah, it has to do with the voting thing. Yeah, and we could go through more details offline if you want.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you got it. Let's see, next question. Melissa answered it too, so we're good. And I think that's it. I don't think I see any more questions, but if you do, you could always reach out to us. And I guess that will conclude our membership meeting. And don't forget, if you want a demo from Charlie Oppenheimer, please put your information in the chat box. He'll set up a demo. And that wraps it up, which is a nice segue to future 411s. And I'm going to turn it over to Michelle, and you could elaborate on the upcoming 411s.
Yeah, so I mentioned if you all were on our meeting last week, you heard some of these, but I just wanted to let you know verbally what's happening, and we'll get we'll get as many of the actual registration links out as soon as we can, but we've had a little bit of changing around of our schedule. So just wanted to let you know what's happening. Next Wednesday on August 19th is going to be about running inclusive PTA meetings during COVID. So we'll talk about ways to provide interpretation, translation, equitable access to information, how to plan meetings, give notice, how to plan with families and learn what topics will be important to them in PTA meetings, that sort of thing, how to connect a little bit. And if you have ideas or questions as we're planning that meeting, just let us know, and we'll get that registration link out. Maybe by tomorrow we'll have all these out, but definitely by Friday I'll send you a whole list of these. The following Wednesday is actually a new edition. We moved some things around for this. We're going to do a town hall with the Department of Public Health. They're going to be getting some new health guidance from the state, several reports coming in, and so we're going to have somebody come in and share all of that with us and be available for questions. So that's exciting. The following Wednesday on September 2nd, we're going to be doing a presentation of a couple different ballot measures and an endorsement vote. We are just forming study committees to review these, the youth voting and local elections measure and the parcel tax for the school district. And if you have interest in participating in one of those study committees, you can send me a note where in the next day or two, those will be finalized and the committees will be doing their work so they can present at that meeting. And all members can vote. And then the following week on September 9th, we have a special guest speaker who is a coach who's coming in to talk about how to manage stress during the pandemic. And this is on the parent side, not managing your child's stress, but your stress as you're dealing with balancing jobs and family and supporting at-home learning and all of those things, and learning how to manage expectations and redefining success, and leaving with some tools that will hopefully help you navigate this fall a little more easily than the spring was. And then the following week, we'll be doing a session about fundraising while we're all remote. So that's what we had ahead of us, and you will see those links very soon for all of those meetings in your inbox.
Great. Thank you, Michelle. And I think that wraps up our 411 Wednesday for this week. So remember, we're here to support you all. And if you would like a topic addressed, send us a note and come to our meetings, and we'll figure something out. We'll make it a 411 Wednesday, and we're here for you all. Okay. Well, have a good night. Take care.